Today I'm going to show you how to observe and draw this still life image. You're going to need a pencil, make sure you have an eraser. The first thing, remember to draw lightly. You're going to have to erase, you're going to have to shift things around as you start drawing. And really use your eyes to notice where these different objects are within the rectangle. So our goal is to copy this image into the rectangle below. And so to start, one tip or trick is to create a grid. And we're going to create a very simple grid. I'm going to kind of eyeball and find the middle of the still life, and then I'm going to draw a line, vertical line down the middle, and then I'm going to draw a vertical line down the middle of my rectangle below. I'm going to draw a horizontal line down the middle, same thing down below. I now have a grid with 4 different quadrants. You could label them if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm talking about the 4th quadrant, here's where I'm talking. If I'm talking about the 2nd, I'm looking right here. It's very simple, but we're going to use these grid lines to help us draw these objects. The first object that I draw is this cylinder in the backpack here. So I really want to pay attention to how far away is the top of this cylinder from the top of my rectangle. It's pretty far away. It's not very close to the top, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Also, this edge, where my pencil is going back and forth, where does that touch this grid line? It's almost halfway in between the center and the edge. And so I'm going to find the halfway mark, my rectangle below. And now I'm going to look at the top of this cylinder. Where does it cross this grid line? It's not quite halfway, because here's the halfway mark. I can use my pencil. Sometimes I like to use my pencil as like a measuring tool. And my pencil, from the edge of the silver to the top of the eraser, that's almost where it crosses. So I'm going to bring my pencil down here, kind of eyeball it, like, oh, kind of right there. I'm going to make a little mark. So now, when I draw this top line, I know it shouldn't be any taller than that. The side line, it kind of curves a little. And I know it's going to touch right there. Excellent. This little line, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to erase it. Eventually I'll cover it up with shading. Now, the rest of this cylinder is in the 2nd quadrant, and the width of this is almost the width of my pencil. It's almost the size of my pencil. So I'm going to bring that down, kind of eyeball where it lands. Alright, looks about there. And so I'm going to draw the other edge of it. I notice it doesn't quite touch the horizontal grid line. Didn't have it touch. I might have to adjust this as I continue to draw. The next thing I'm going to draw in is the lotion bottle. My lotion bottle is mostly in the 2nd quadrant here. And so again, I'm going to pay attention to, let's look at the top. How far away is the lotion bottle from the top of the rectangle? It's a lot closer than the cylinder we just drew. It's pretty close, but it's not touching. I'm going to use my pencil again. It's almost the width of my eraser. So I'm going to bring that down, kind of go, okay, it's kind of like right there. So I'm going to just put a little line right there. So I know my lotion bottle shouldn't be any taller than this line. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the sides of the lotion bottle, both sides. How far away is the side from the edge of the rectangle? You could try to use your pencil. It's almost like the length of just the silver of my pencil. So I can bring that down and go, oh, kind of is going to end right about there. Kind of put a line. How far away is the side of this side of the lotion bottle from my grid line? I'm going to use my pencil again. It's like the length of the silver almost again. So I'm going to bring that down kind of right there. I'm just going to make a mark. And then what I do is I kind of just put an oval in here, because my lotion bottle should fit inside this half oval that I made. So now I'm going to start drawing the lotion bottle. I always draw the bottom part first because I know the sides of the lotion bottle are going to touch the sides of this oval I drew. Kind of curves up a little. Drawing very lightly. And if you need to erase some lines so you can see what you're working with, you can, but I tend not to erase very much. I notice the right side of the lotion bottle, it drops below this grid line, so I'm going to drop this below. My left side of the lotion bottle, where my pencil is pointing, it maybe goes a smidge below it. And now the lotion bottle has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces up top here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'm just really paying attention to what I see. So I'm kind of going to draw this cap. Again, all the lines kind of slightly curve a little bit. I'm going to go up top and do the top of the lotion bottle. Not perfect, not bad. This could probably be a little longer. And then I'm gonna call it good. I'm gonna move down to this third quadrant, and there's this really long cylinder. It takes up most of the third quadrant. And so I always start with this oval opening. And one thing I notice is that this oval is slanted. It is not up, straight up and down. It's kind of slanted to the right. I notice the bottom part of the oval is not, it's not fully connected. It touches the rectangle, and it's almost in the middle. So I'm gonna actually come down here and kind of put that mark, because that's going to help me. The top of the oval, it's out a little bit farther than the lotion bottle, and so I'm just going to lightly pencil something in. I'm trying to make that bottom part of the oval kind of come to this line that I made. Now, if you look at mine, notice how much space there is in between. Almost the same, it's almost the silver. I don't have that here, so I am going to have to adjust. My oval should end there. That's why we draw lightly. So I'm gonna make it fit, yeah, a little bit better. That's better. Might come out a little bit more. All right, next, I'm gonna draw this top line of the cylinder, and I notice, where's it crossing this horizontal line? Kind of right about here, and then it crosses the vertical line too, kind of right about there. And it slants just a little bit. So I didn't quite hit my mark there, but that's all right. I'm pretty close. This back end of the cylinder, where does that come in? Now I'm going to draw the bottom part of the cylinder, and where does it cross? Not quite halfway, because that's where my pencil is. A little bit below, so here's halfway. Probably crosses right there. And so I'm going to kind of get as close as I can. Now's a good time to step back and look. How am I doing? Not too bad. Just the lines as you need to. Okay, our fourth quadrant. This is the most challenging because there's a lot of objects in here. So I'm actually going to make a smaller grid in here. So in this small rectangle, I'm going to find the middle, split it in half vertically, split it in half horizontally, and then this object, it kind of looks like a coffee K-cup to me. I want to draw the front oval of this coffee K-cup. So I notice in that oval is the center of our grid. It's not in the middle of the oval. It's kind of off to the top. Paying attention to where these lines might cross. I'm kind of just marking them out. And then I'm just gonna draw that oval in and see if it is where I need it to be. It's always the hardest object for me to draw. Feels a little better. If you are too close to the cylinder, you'll have to adjust because there needs to be some room for like this line. And my oval looked a little too smushed. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay, so I have this bottom line that runs into my cylinder. Man, so I need to really adjust. I think I need to shift my circle over a little. Or bring this cylinder back a little. And then I can draw that bottom line. It touches the cylinder. This back line comes back a little bit. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Next, I'm going to draw this little like canister. It looks like there's a lid on it. I noticed the lid, the top of the lid is pretty close to this horizontal grid line, so I'm going to lightly put that in. The bottom of my cylinder goes a little bit below this grid line. And you should be looking at your drawing. Your grid lines are in different spots. Your drawing is going to look a little different because of how it was copied. That's what you want to be following. All right. Not bad. And then we have this little guy. He's the last one. Kind of slants down a little. The end of this, kind of halfway between this new grid line, so kind of about there. And then you have your still life placed in. What you want to do next is you want to go ahead and shade the still life in. You could use any technique. Blended shading, which would be the most realistic, hatching, cross-hatching, or stippling if you wanted to. As you are shading in, pay attention to the shadows. Those should be shaded in. Pay attention to like the table. You could even draw that in right now so you know. And you shade the entire background too. That's your darkest shade. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that.